Good morning, everyone. If you are here watching us live, you're here for our AMA this morning, Running Towards Empowerment to Share My Survivor Story, AMA with Summer Willis and Policy Manager Samantha Pisik. Thank you both for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having us.
All right, y'all ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. So my first question, for those who didn't watch the video or look at the original post, who is Summer Willis? Who are you, Summer?
Well, I'm an endurance athlete now, an advocate, a children's writer, and a survivor of sexual assault. But more than anything, I'm someone who stayed silent for a decade after my assault, and now I refuse to stay silent. So I use extreme endurance challenges like running 29 marathons in a year, running a marathon carrying a mattress, and now crawling the entire Austin Marathon to force people to acknowledge the realities of sexual violence. And I think my work is about turning pain into power and making sure that survivors are heard and pushing for real change.
Can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I can. I'm sorry.
All right, there you go. Sorry, little audio issue. I was just wondering, how did you get started in endurance running?
Yeah, well, I feel like I always looked up to these people who are pushing the boundaries of like what is possible. Probably because I feel like I lost my strength after the rape. And so people like Katie Spots and Ross Edgley and David Goggins, I looked up to them and just felt like those are the strong people that I wish I could be. So I thought these endurance feats like made them strong. So when I was in a really dark place after a decade of just like letting the sexual assault eat me alive, I decided that I would see if like what would happen if I started to believe that I could do the impossible. And so one morning I couldn't run a marathon or a mile. I was overweight. I was depressed, but I decided when I turned 29 in 3 months that I was going to run 29 marathons. And I think the belief in myself that I could be the person that I believe for so long was taken away from me, someone who was strong, someone who was resilient, got me to each of those 29 finish lines. And I think these challenges became a way for me to process everything that I went through. And they gave me more of a sense of control and power that I believe had been taken away from me. And the more I ran, the more I got to share my stories with people who I was running with, and I also got to hear their survivor stories. And somewhere in the miles, I realized that the physical runs, the endurance challenges weren't what was healing me. It was more of finally being able to reclaim my story and finally realizing that I was stronger than I ever realized. And I think that's where the crawl comes in, because the crawl is going to finally be me sharing not like what it was, not like this is a powerful, I'm carrying the mattress on my back, but like acknowledging to everyone now it's a time to say like, hey, the last 10 years have been a crawl. But I think we're going to get to that a bit later. Sorry.
No, it's all good. That is powerful. And I know you kind of touched on it some, but why do you plan to crawl the Austin Marathon? Like, what led you to that decision of like, this is how we're going to do this next race?
Yeah, I know I've definitely gotten that question a lot over the past months, like why crawling? But I think part of it, like 79% of people, and Samantha told me the stat is low. She hears it higher, but they don't report their assault. And I was one of them. I like suffered in years. And I believe that it was my fault. And this crawl is my way of acknowledging to myself that it was okay to not be okay, that the last 10 years, they have been a crawl. They've been a crawl to find strength in my own body again and to reclaim my story. They've been a crawl to like establish relationships. I know my second date with my husband, like whenever you're supposed to be romancing each other, I told him I was broken and that he didn't want to be with me. And I think that this crawl really symbolizes what all survivors have to go through. It's a crawl to come back to yourself, or to be the strong person that I felt like was taken away from me. And I'm really excited because although this will be a grueling 17 hours, that no matter how much strength training I've been practicing and endurance running I've done, like it's 17 hours on your hands and knees. But this campaign is called The Last Time I Crawl. And the final 0.3 miles, it will be alongside members of the Texas House of Representatives and senators who I will in the spring testify in front of, because I'm really focused on not just the crawl, but what happens when you get up from the crawl. And that's like standing tall and strong. And that's how I plan to approach the rest of my life, and how I plan to advocate for really important bills this spring. And everyone's invited to come see me at the finish line, or to come walk beside me. I think we're going to be finishing around 1:30 p.m.
Awesome. Also, that was beautiful,
So
Summer.
inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh.
yes, folks, join us 2025 Austin Marathon, February 15th. So you also touched on some of this, but I will also want to hear from Samantha too. Oh my gosh, so sorry, y'all. How has what you experienced led to your actions and policy?
Yeah, well, whenever I was doing the 29 marathons, it started as a healing journey for myself. But as I started sharing my story, I just kept on meeting more and more survivors, whether it was a local news anchor, or someone who was running beside me, or friends that I was meeting at the park. And too many stories were so similar to mine. And it was like, how can these stories keep on happening? So once I was done and rested for about a month, I started looking up the laws around sexual assault and the protections for survivors and what preventative measures we're doing. And there are sadly so many things that need to be changed. And so I have no experience with policy or lobbying, but Samantha has been leading me through this. And I'm meeting each week with representatives and senators, and like begging them and asking them and figuring out together like how we can change, how we can make this world a better place. Yeah.
No, I will say, like, when I met Summer, I was just in awe. She is truly an inspiration to the work that we do. And so when she told me kind of her story, I told her, we're working with the governor's sexual assault survivors task force on a bill to define consent. Because currently in Texas statute, we only have a list of things that are not considered consent. That's the definition. So we are hoping to get it passed this time. We did try, if you guys may remember, we did try last session and we almost got it to the finish line. But we have been working tirelessly with members and, meeting survivors like Summer to tell her story, to be able to really push this bill to the finish line. So we're really hoping to be able to do that this time around. And, hopefully this helps survivors in the future.
Thank you both. Real quick, before I jump into my next question, I wanted to clarify, I had the wrong date. Austin Marathon is February 16th, Sunday, February 16th. So if you want to join Summer in the final steps, join us at around. We'll be there. We'll be there cheering her on. So yeah. Also a reminder, because I didn't say this at the beginning, ask me anything. So if y'all have any questions for Summer or for Samantha, please post them in the comments while we wait to see if y'all have any questions. I have a secret question that they did not know I was going to be asking them. And don't worry, y'all, I'll answer first so you get a moment to think about your response. But my question for you is, what is your favorite game? So I struggled to pick one, so I'm going to talk about two. So the game, Rummy Cube, I have been playing that game with my dad and my brother since I was little. My brother and dad live in New Jersey. So when we go out there, we play a marathon of games. That's as close as I get to doing a marathon, Summer. But Rummy Cube is one of those ones that is my favorite. It's like Rummy, but little tiles. And an honorable mention to Hues and Cues because I love color. And so it's a game about trying to describe a color and guess what color that person is describing. So yeah, one of y'all want to go first? What's your favorite game?
I think Samantha wants to go first.
Right. I knew mine immediately. It's called Secret Hitler. And if you haven't played it, it is very, very fun, but it can get very, very intense quickly. You have your Hitler and your fascists and your Germans. Wow. Yes, but it's really fun. I promise. If you look it up, it's a great time, and you get everyone involved. There's a secret Hitler. You have to find out who it is before they move their policy pieces to the end.
Oh my gosh!
I've played it in the Capitol a few times. So.
Okay.
Yes. Summer.
Yeah, well, when my husband and I got married, we decided one of our goals was to have a whole game closet, and it's right across from me. So I've been staring at it. It's like, which one's my favorite? And I'm going to say Ticket to Ride because Andrew, I feel like, wins more than me, but I always win Ticket to Ride, which I like that aspect of it. But no, board games are fun, and I haven't heard of either one of y'all's, so I'm gonna have to go game shopping.
Yeah, I was gonna say some more games for your closet.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I don't see any additional questions at the moment. Just a reminder, you can still ask the questions after this live, and we'll make sure that the questions reach Summer or Samantha. So we're going to go ahead and go to our last question. What is up next for your work in advocating for survivors?
Yeah, great question. A couple of things. First is I'm really pushing with the U.S. Senate to get the SOS Campus Safety Act passed. This will basically give college campuses across the country just a go-to independent liaison to help the survivor, whether they want to report, whether they want to press charges, just to have someone to say, like, it wasn't your fault. As I said before, like, I didn't tell anyone, and I just so wish I had someone there to just, I don't know, say those words to me, and also say, like, you have options, like, what are they? And so really pushing for that. Also Capitol Day on the February 20th, I get to come out with you guys and speak. So really excited about that. And then something that has been helpful in, I think, reclaiming my story has been creativity. And so I reached out to one of my favorite directors, Hisko Hulsing, who made Undone, which was shot in like Austin and San Antonio. And he does animation, and we're co-directing a short together, an animated short called Letters to My Younger Self, which will be launched with my 5K series during Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So next April, we'll have a race in Austin and 4 other major cities where the community can come together, and we'll race in Denim, and we just celebrate survivors, and hoping y'all will be a part of that as well. But my whole goal with Strength Through Strides, which is my charity, is just making survivors feel seen, and like we can hear their stories and know that they're like loved, and they can share. We can share what happened to us, and we can say that's not right. So yeah, a couple of things going on.
Just a few. That's awesome. Thank you, Summer. All right. And so the best way for folks to stay in touch with Summer and follow along with all the various projects at Summer Willis, as well as if you have questions, go to www.summerwillis.com. All right, y'all. Well, I think that is it for us today. Thank you, folks, for watching. Again, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. And otherwise, we'll see you next time.
Thank you all.